Maybe you feel like you're doing everything right. You're successful in achieving some of the things that you want, but something still feels off. We hear this all the time from clients who are not just tired, but feeling disconnected, like they're running on empty despite achieving so much. But here's what no one tells high achievers. Burnout isn't just about doing too much. It's about carrying too much that you haven't processed. The real culprit is likely hidden deep within your subconscious. Since working with hundreds of high-performing clients over the last decade, I've seen firsthand that it is not just about the hustle culture. It's about what's happening under the surface. This matters so much now because we are being taught to optimize everything except the root cause of why we're exhausted, anxious, and overwhelmed. High achievers typically get stuck in a loop. We perform, we push, we crash. Then we pretend everything's fine, but then we burn out and that kind of starts to become a baseline. But there's actually something driving it. Now, you don't need another productivity hack. You don't need another reel telling you how to do X, Y, and Z. You just need to look at decoding your subconscious. Now, most people treat burnout like it's a schedule problem. Take a holiday, sleep in, meditate, and then go right back to the same pressure cooker afterwards. The truth is, you're not overworked. You're carrying 12 invisible blocks that your nervous system cannot keep up with. So here's the big idea. We have 12 root level drivers towards why we do what we do. So if you feel like you've tried everything but still stressed out of your mind and experiencing stress patterns like self-sabotage, overthinking, anxiety, overwhelm, depression, fatigue, you name it, any other unwanted behavior you might be experiencing, then you need to pay attention to these 12 root level drivers, because these are 12 subconscious forces that are quietly draining your energy and silently driving you towards burnout. So let's take a look at them. So the first one is unresolved emotions. Unresolved emotions often stem from lack of education in emotional awareness and well-being practices. Unfortunately, it's still commonplace to bottle up feelings and carry on with life without expressing them, and this can lead to dis-ease, discomfort, and an unhappy life. So take a moment and ask yourself, if you feel like you're holding on to emotions from the past, maybe you can recall memories that still hold some strong feelings. If you don't feel in control of your emotions, this is also a sign that there are some emotions to release. Now, there's many ways to do this. Here at Wellness Theory, we use all sorts of different things like time paradigm techniques, breath work, quantum flow, all these kinds of things to help clients release these unresolved negative emotions. But there is a video that you can check out that we made around this, which is episode 218, and it is all about how you can make sure that our unresolved stress and emotions are not wrecking our body and our mind and our heart and our experience of life. So the next one is our belief system. Do your thoughts and beliefs serve you? We learn how to think and what to believe from society and family dynamics, and unless we pause and explore what we believe, then we are often operating in the world from inherited beliefs instead of consciously choosing our own. So it's important to ask yourself if the beliefs that you're holding are helping you to create the life you want. Do you feel clear and content about what you believe, or are your beliefs holding you back in any way? Just check and see if there are any narratives or any kind of thoughts that you have that reoccur that could be holding you back, that are maybe rooted in self-doubt or this idea of not being enough. It's really worth pausing to explore them, because when our belief system is limiting us in any way, it can really be a fast route to burnout. Next up is our identity. How we identify with ourselves affects how we show up in the world. If you see yourself as a shy person, you'll be shy. If you see yourself as an anxious person, you'll be anxious. If you see yourself as an ambitious person, guess what? You'll be ambitious. If you see yourself as a healthy person, you'll be healthy. Ultimately, you'll act based on what you believe about yourself and what you're telling yourself. It's really important to reflect on how you describe yourself internally, because considering what you identify about yourself is going to create your reality. So ask yourself, is this aligned with the truth of who you are? Or is it aligned with a person that you wish to grow into? We actually asked over 1,000 high achievers at the start of this year, do you have a strong sense of who you are outside of your achievements and work? And 44% said no, with 11% saying sometimes. And I promise you this, there is a direct correlation between a sense of identity and the severity of stress and burnout symptoms that one will experience. So get clear on who are you, and are you showing up authentically and aligned? Our next invisible block are our core values. Now, our values are what we consider to be most important in any context of our lives. Our subconscious will revert back to our values for our motivation because they will determine our self-initiated motivation. Now, think of values like our driving force. They're what we talk about, what we think about, and often a reflection of our lives. Now, if we're aware of our values and we live in alignment with our values, then we will have a higher level of sustained motivation. So it's crucial that whatever path you're on here, and the reason for watching this video, is that your path aligns and supports and nurtures with your values. Ask yourself what's important in your life, what's most important in your relationships, your health, what's most important in your career and your environment. Ask yourself this question for every area of your life, and I promise you it will start to point you in the right direction. Now, there is a video that we've created that you can check out on this episode 218, which is all about mismatched values and how that system can be a cause of burnout. So go ahead and check that out and dive into this one, because this is a biggie. Next up, we have our habits and patterns, which are the building blocks of our life. Everything we do is a result of our repeated behaviors. First, observe yourself and list all of the habits and patterns that you noticed, and then list and note which ones serve you and which ones don't. Ultimately, decide which habits you'd like to change and reflect on how to actually change them. And to help you to do this, we have got a video for you, which is episode 223, I believe. And it is all about why you keep repeating the same patterns, even when you know better. This will dive into the subconscious loops that really create what we call self-sabotage, right? And it will really help you if you've got any habits that you want to shift, from overworking, neglecting recovery, poor sleep, you name it. It will really, really help. The next, and one of the most common hidden factors that contribute to burnout, is not addressing our masculine and feminine energy. Now, everyone, regardless of gender, encompasses both masculine and feminine energy. It's the yin and yang that lives in all of us. Now, these polarities often influence how we feel and how we function in our relationships, whether that be intimate relationships, whether that be work relationships, for example. Now, exploring our own masculine and feminine dynamic helps to bring us into balance and gives us a greater feeling of harmony and fulfillment. So typically, the masculine energy is categorized by the doing and the feminine by the being, but neither one is better or worse than the other. However, our awareness allows us to nurture and navigate what we choose to call forwards so that we can show up consciously and intentionally. For example, I am more dominant in my masculine energy. I am a doer. I will keep on going, and it's taken a lot of work over the years to come to a point where I need to rise in my sense of being so that I can have a sense of balance and lean into doing when I need to do, and lean into being when I need to be. Next up is inner child integration. Now, every adult has an inner child within them, sometimes more than one. Often it is a response of our stress system and is a symptom of a neglected part of ourselves. For example, needing to be seen and heard because we weren't when we were a child. We try to meet our unmet needs as adults. If you've ever asked yourself why you do something, the chances are you're doing it because you're trying to fulfill an unmet need. So if you have ever experienced self-sabotaging behaviors like perfectionism and self-doubt despite your achievements, the chances are this needs a bit of exploration. Imposter syndrome is a big one here also. So ask yourself, what do you feel was missing when you were a child? How can you be loving and compassionate to that younger version of you now? And can you be the adult that you needed then and show your inner child that level of self-care? As soon as you start to heal this relationship with the younger you, the easier life will be today as an adult. The next invisible factor that could be contributing to burnout are our attachment wounds. Now, the way we learn to form attachments with our caregivers and family members when we were younger teaches us our relational skills. It's believed to be the foundational piece of the puzzle and shapes the dynamics of all of our relationships we then have in adulthood. And so basically, the safer and the more secure the bond between a child and their immediate caregivers are, the safer and more secure the child will feel in the world at large. And then that translates into how we feel as adults. So ultimately, if you feel that you struggle to rest easily or to be intimate in any way, or you struggle to kind of settle in any way, then this could be an area for you to explore. So perhaps reflect on your family relationships and see how you felt and how that could be influencing you today. Next up, we have regulation. This is probably one of the easiest ones that you can explore today and really see an instant result. So self-regulation is the ability to bring ourselves back into balance without being reliant on any external factors. Being able to manage our emotions, our energy, our thoughts, and our behaviors is vital to be happy in our relationships, to be able to perform at the highest levels, and just to be healthy as a human, right? So our ability to regulate ourselves for our life is kind of the difference between feeling at peace or feeling struggle. So ask yourself, how do you regulate yourself? Maybe you meditate, maybe you take deep breaths, or maybe you rely on other people, maybe you rely on substances or entertainment. I wonder, what is that for you? Observe yourself and just notice when you are feeling regulated versus when you are feeling dysregulated. We do have another video that we've created which will really help you with this one. And like I said, it will just help you instantly. So go and check out episode 216. It'll be really, really powerful for you. Now, this factor that contributes to burnout is extremely common, and it is unresolved past experiences. Now, it's really important to know that the body remembers what the mind avoids. We asked over 1,000 high achievers at the start of this year, do you ever feel like no matter how much you achieve, something is still holding you back? 78% of them said yes. Now, this is the area to start exploring if you feel like there is something that you can't put your finger on, but you're struggling somehow in your life. See, unresolved past experiences can jerk the nervous system out of rhythm, right? Anything from something significant happening in the past, big or small, can create a certain response in our system. The intensity of our past experience will depend on you as an individual. It could be something really, really deeply traumatic, or it could be something that maybe wouldn't be seen as a big trauma, but actually the experience it had on your system perhaps has left that kind of mark. So there's nothing too big or too small here that's not worth exploring. So a few signs of unresolved past experiences that could be affecting your daily life could be the inability to connect deeply with others, addictive type behaviors, anxiety or panic attacks, confusion, depression, helplessness, very low self-worth, inability to deal with conflict, shame, intrusive thoughts or uncontrollable emotions, or even feel like you're dissociating from life itself. So if you resonate with any of those things, it's really, really, really important that you seek professional support to help you resolve past experiences in a healthy and safe ways. And there's ways that you can do that in the show notes. Next up, we have our life purpose. Now, success without meaning is just burnout waiting to happen. Now, when we lack purpose in our life or unclear of what our purpose could be, it's common to then get distracted, right? And end up on a path that maybe others have set out for you rather than following your own. And this can lead to us feeling further away from what's authentically true for ourselves. And this is often when we end up in like a midlife crisis or a identity crisis, and it can be really frustrating and leave us feeling lost or in limbo about life itself. And here's the thing though, right? You don't have to have it all figured out, but it is important to get to know yourself and how to tune in to what lights you up, right? And what brings meaning to your life. So having a life purpose is not just about knowing, life's big message and you going and creating like this massive thing. It could be something really, really simple, but it's critical that you know where you are going. So take some time to think about, what does light you up? What does bring you a sense of meaning? And if you want to dive even deeper on that, just reach out and just keep asking yourself, right? You're the one that knows best. But if you need some help in exploring that, then we are here for you anytime. Last but not least, we have our survival, psychological and spiritual needs. Now, everyone on the planet has survival, psychological and spiritual needs. Now, however, most people are unaware of what they are, and many don't know how to fulfill them, which is very natural until you become a bit self-aware and you start to reflect on what's important to you. However, even those people who are aware of what their needs are, they can often struggle to fulfill them. And that can actually cause quite a lot of confusion and create a bit of a sticking point, because we try to fulfill our needs perhaps in ways that we think we should versus what we actually are tuned into and what we truly need. And to make this one really easy to understand, that we've created another video for you on this around your psychological needs in particular, which is episode 219. So go ahead and check that one out. Now, I get that might feel like a lot, right? There's 12 big things to potentially unpack there. So take your time, rewind the video, watch it again, and go and check out some of those extra resources and other videos where you can really go a bit deeper on each one. The key here is to know that they are not mindset tweaks. They are root level shifts that can change how you show up in everything. Now, for me, it wasn't the workload that broke me and burnt me out. It was actually that feeling like I could never put it down. Even when I rested, I wasn't really resting, right? And it wasn't until I dug into these 12 core areas and really looked at my life holistically, was I able to actually move forwards and start to come out of that burnout. Now, imagine for a moment that burnout is like the browsers on your computer and you've got like 50 tabs open. Closing one of them isn't going to fix the problem, right, that you might be facing. You're going to need to reboot the system. And that's what looking at these 12 roots are. They're your emotional cookies, if you like. And once you clear them, you start to feel like yourself again. So another thing to really note here, okay, is that it's important to work through deeper issues with a professional who's qualified and experienced in the areas mentioned here. So our contacts can be found in the show notes, and we can also signpost you to anywhere that you might need if it is outside of our scope of work, but we're here to really support you in that. Now, another thing here is that managing deep-rooted issues requires focus and energy. And something that's really helped to support mine and many of our clients' journeys is that we rely on good nutrition. We actually rely on good nutrition from a company called Meals on Me, which specifically really helps us to simplify meal planning, allows us to concentrate on our personal growth because we're not wasting time trying to cook and figure out what it is we actually need. And I know we're all super busy, right? And it can be hard to do the deep work as well as all of our duties in daily life. So that's another reason why I really love getting our meals delivered essentially from Meals on Me, because it helps us to basically stay in the fast lane but stay grounded in wellness as much as we can. Because remember, wellness isn't about shortcuts, it's about choosing better every single day. So out of everything we've shared, what are the action steps, right? How do we start really solving stress at the root? Well, first thing is to pick one of the 12. So go back, have a listen, or just think about the one that really jumped out at you, which one really hit home, and then take out your journal and ask yourself, where does this show up in my life right now? Right? Super simple. And then reflect on what would it like to shift just maybe 1% in this area and see what comes up for you. Right? Super simple. So a lot of information, but distilled into very simple action. And then once you're happy and you feel like you've explored that one enough, then maybe go into the next one and so on. If you're not sure of which of these areas are draining you the most, I would encourage you to also take the High Achiever scorecard that we have. The link is in the show notes, which will basically help you to get a clear map of what's blocking you from really delivering life, right, at the highest level, right? How are you showing up in your true authentic expression and having the impact that you want to have in the world? Ultimately, if there is something going on at the root level, we're not going to be able to achieve that at our best. So jump into that, have a little look through it, and if you need something, let us know. But the key takeaway here is that you cannot outwork unresolved inner blocks. You can only outgrow them. Let me say that again. You cannot outwork unresolved inner blocks. You can only outgrow them. Burnout doesn't mean that you're broken, right? It means that there's something inside of you that's ready to be healed, right? And to be enhanced. So please just choose one thing from the root, look at it, get honest about it, and if you want more clarity, get in touch. But until then, enjoy exploring this area, even though it might be a bit sticky at times, and you will start to come home to yourself. Take care, and I'll see you soon.
If you enjoyed this episode and you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Then share it with a friend who you think might benefit.
Spread the word. That's how we're going to impact the world, by helping each other.
We appreciate you so much, and as always, unconditional love and wellness to you.